Broadcasting live from the center of the universe. It's Business School Without the BS. Featuring optometrist turned entrepreneur, Dr. Robert Zellner, with USSBA Entrepreneur of the Year, Clay Clark.
It is the Thrivetime Show. Let your boom begin. Where we drop knowledge bombs for you in Portland. Teaching the proven systems to make your ends. So you can produce the greenery like all the Oregon. Suit will call you Franklin because you got Benjamins. We'll call you Ben Pearl because you just bought a Benz. And then you'll be bragging to your wife and kids that your wallet's overweight, but it used to be thin. Comes away, this is Clay broadcaster with the Zen, with the focus locked in like San Quentin. Can I get a B to the O to the M? You've heard the rumors, he is I and I is him. He be the Z and I be the C. Now it's teaching business skills from Clay to Z. We both grew up poor, but we're poor no more. The goal of this show is to help you soar. All right, Thrive Nation, welcome back to the Thrivetime Show on your radio. Today we're talking about bridging this massive abyss that's separating what you know to do from getting it done. That's keeping you from traveling across the bridge of, here's the idea, and I want to go across the bridge of discipline to the actual achievement of what I set myself out to do. I want to go from just wanting to be successful to actually becoming successful. And I believe that the problem, the big river that's separating the idea from the execution of the idea, that's the thing that's keeping you from doing this, is you have a broken bridge. The bridge should be very solid. It should work. It should be held together. It should be safe. It should be called the discipline bridge. And if you're disciplined, you can go from the ideas to the execution of the ideas very quickly. But if you're not disciplined, you can't get anything done. You spend your whole life in the idea phase. You spend all your time coming up with ideas, but you never get anything done. And so I'm going to tap into Dr. Sibley's wisdom on this, and I've got some fairly deep questions for Dr. Sibley, and I'm going to here's the first one for you. Proverbs 31:8 from the Bible. Proverbs 31:8 from the Bible reads, "Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the rights of all who are destitute." All right, so it says, speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the rights of all who are destitute. But then Proverbs 10:4, which is also in the Bible, right? It says, "Lazy hands make for poverty, but diligent hands bring wealth." So there's an entrepreneur out there called, we'll call him Clay Clark. That's me. I've never had a hard time at all with just locking in and doing what needs to be done. So if it was like in high school, I'm working out, I commit to a regimen, and I just do it. And I didn't have any pushback, and I would just get really in great shape real fast and just do it. Cold calling, that was the first time where I was like, gosh, I know what to do, but I don't do it. And I noticed that when I was weightlifting, I had like a partner with me. You know, someone to push me, someone to coach me, someone to hold me accountable. On the baseball team, I had someone pushing me. The soccer or the basketball team, the football team, people were holding me accountable. I had that someone to kind of push me, to guide me, to hold me accountable, you know. But then when I started my own business, I'm self-employed, so I'm all by myself. Oh. And that's when I struggled to have the discipline when I first started. And as a result of that, I had poverty, you know, because I wasn't doing my job. So then once I figured out over time, like, gosh, if I don't do anything, nothing good's going to happen. Then I became more of a disciplined person. Things began to take off. It's all good. So then when I started managing people, people would refuse to do their job, and I wanted to do it in the right way. So I look at the Bible, and it says you got to speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves and for the rights of all who are destitute. So I'm thinking, well, if somebody's doing a poor job at their job, maybe I should have more compassion and like care and try to figure out why they're not doing the job. I mean, maybe they're not motivated. Maybe I'm doing a poor job motivating these people. That's the problem. I'm doing a poor job. And I got stuck there for a long time. I probably spent 2 or 3 years in that spot where I kept feeling like I was doing something wrong as a result of my people. I was causing my people to not do their job. Even though they knew what to do and they weren't doing it, I was somehow the problem. Can you help somebody out there that's in that phase right now where they've built a company, they got maybe 3 or 4 employees, maybe even 10 employees, and the employees know what to do. but they're just refusing to do it. And the owner feels like they're doing something wrong that's causing people to not do their job. Help somebody out there. Help an entrepreneur out there.
Poverty is a great motivator. And
this is so mean.
People in your business that are not on board with you, not singing the same song you sing, are weights on your legs, and you're going to sink. So motivating people is a full-time job.
Jason, you manage Elephant in the Room. And a typical store, how many people are working with you on a typical day?
8 to 9.
Okay. Now, I don't want you to I know everyone you manage now is awesome. But think back when you because I know one thing about Jason is all the people at Elephant in the Room are awesome. So whenever I ask you for examples, we're referring to your friend's business that he runs, because you've never managed people that refuse to do their job. But hypothetically, and the other job that your friend works at where he manages people, what are the hardest aspects of getting people to do what they're supposed to do when they clearly know they need to replace the paraffin hand wax, or they need to fold the towels, cook the burgers, when they need to show up on time for cutting the hair, when they're supposed to flip the burgers, when they're supposed to lock the door before they leave, when they are cooking the fries, when they're supposed to take out the trash before they leave and they're not supposed to leave their shift early at Elephant in the Room, at the burger joint where they're supposed to do their job. What's the hardest part of getting people to do what they need to do when they already clearly know what they need to do?
Well, that's the hardest part, is trying to get them to understand that it's the task and that it's simple to do. It's like wanting to have a marshal on your team where you can go to Marshall and say, hey, get this done. And he says, okay. And then he does it. It's like you said, it's a full-time job trying to motivate somebody, but you have to just keep doing it. And that's one of the things that I learned is if I'm not diligent in motivating, or if I'm not being an example of what I want to get done, then it's not going to get done.
I've discovered, because I've managed I've managed thousands of people over the last 21 years, and I can tell you, here are the 3 excuses that humanity has, and I'd like for Dr. Sibley to break down the first one, Chup the second one, and Jason, I'll have you break down the third one, okay? So here's excuse number 1. I forgot. Dr. Sibley, that's a number 1 excuse. It's very universal. People love to use that one. You say, Clay, you're supposed to fold the towels. I say, okay. I choose not to do it. Then I say, I forgot. And I'm hoping that you will not follow up again. I'm hoping that I just won't do it passively aggressively. And then when you hold me accountable, I say, I forgot. Dr. Sibley, how do you deal with people that say, I forgot?
Well, people that say, I forgot, don't take their job seriously. Because you shouldn't forget. If you're on board, you can't forget. Because we're dealing in our practice with people's lives. So you have to be on task 24/7. And that in itself will motivate people.
So you have to write down, the person has to write down what they're supposed to do. You have to tell your teammates, hey, teaching moment, write down what you're supposed to do. The pen is for remembering. Don't try to remember in your head. But then beyond that, if somebody keeps saying that they forgot, you're going to have to fire them, because that's not acceptable. And it seems acceptable. It seems like an acceptable excuse, but it will not ever change. If they say that, if that's their excuse, they will consistently use that over and over, because it feels like it feels like a good excuse. Now, Chup, the second excuse that people use for not getting things done. And I'm asking you, Mr. Listener, Mrs. Listener, are you using this excuse on yourself?
Is this you? Is this me?
Are you saying, I forgot to pick up the kids from school?
Oh, no.
I forgot to pay the bill. No, I have met adult men who do this consistently.
Yes.
I forgot to pay the bills. I forgot to go to work on time. I forgot to go to sleep on time. I forgot everything. So, next excuse, though, is there was a miscommunication, Chup.
Oh, yeah.
Chup, there was a miscommunication. I thought you wanted me to work next Friday. When you said work this Friday, I thought you meant next Friday. And I guess a little slip there.
Yeah.
So I forgot.
This is the one that, when it's disingenuous, really gets to me because they're trying to do the old switcheroo. They're trying to put the onus back on you.
Oh.
By basically saying you didn't do a good enough job telling me what I needed to do, Mr. Manager, Mr. Boss, Mr. Owner. Therefore, I misunderstood and did the wrong thing. Or
you did not provide enough detail for the task.
Right. You did not. This is your fault, not mine. I would have loved to get.
And let's say how you should handle it. If somebody asked me to get something done, and I didn't know what was expected, I would ask, I don't understand this. What is expected? And then I would go do it. And if I started doing it and I couldn't do it because I didn't understand it, I would then ask previous to the deadline. That's why it's called a deadline. You should be dead if you don't get it done on time.
If you are the one assigning these tasks, here's how you can head this off. You've got to do the 4 W's.
Oh, talk about it.
You got to assign who the person needs to, who is responsible for this task.
This is how you delegate.
Clay, this is for you. I need you to get this done.
Who's supposed to do it?
When is when it's due. When we need it done. Where is where they need to be to get the job done, right? And we need to be at the main office, at the branch. Where do I need to be to get it done? And then what do I need with me? Do I need passwords? Do I need a list of phone numbers? What do I need to get the job done? And if you provide the employee or the team member with those items, there is no excuse. There is no miscommunication. They've got everything they need to get it done.
And after you get those 4 W's, you got to follow up. Dr. Sibley, why do you have to follow up over and over? Follow up. Why do you have to follow up?
People forget. Just like you said. You got to keep them motivated.
It never gets better. It'll never stop. And then when you hire better people, you'll find that the better people never need to be followed up, but you still follow up with them. But they just knock it out because that's what they're all about.
And those people like to be followed up with because they get to brag about getting their job done to their boss. It's weird.
The third excuse, Jason, I'm sure you've never seen this because you manage primarily women. And so I know you've never seen this. So but friends of yours who maybe hang out at the mall a lot and manage stores at the mall. The third excuse people use for not getting things done is there's an emotional reason. There's like, I just been so busy. Or my personal life is just, I got a lot going on at home. Or somebody died in my family. Or don't talk to me that way. You will not talk to me. And there's the angry guy.
I've been here for years. How dare you?
Jason, how do you deal with emotional people? You do a fine job managing people. And I know there's nobody who's emotional, an elephant in the room. But other places, hypothetically, at the mall, if you were managing people there, how do you deal with emotional people?
Can I get passionate about this?
Yes.
So dealing with the emotional it's annoying to me because I like to approach things from like an intellectual level. And when you're dealing in emotion, you can't. So it's hard to level with those people. And there's always an emotional excuse. That's the one I would say is probably the number one of the 3 excuses that people give us over I forgot. It's there was something else that came up that made me feel this way.
I get so emotional, baby. Every time I try to get to work on time.
Exactly.
I get so emotional, baby, when I forget to take out the trash.
Every time.
I
would like to say that was intellectually passionate. Your delivery there. That was nice.
He's kind of like a TED Talks on steroids is what he is, really. But the reason why I want to have Jason on the show is because he works in one of the businesses and does a great job, and he chooses to do a great job every day. And so many people believe that he's been promoted because he knew me. There's so many rumors about he knew you from a different place.
Yeah, different life.
He's somehow related to you. This guy, you what you do is you prefer people with darker complexion. That's the deal. No, listen, he's just a great guy because of the work he chooses to do every single day. He chooses to be great. In another company that chooses to be great, another entity that chooses to be great, another group of people that choose to be great is Onyx Imaging. If you're looking to save time and money on your office supplies and your printer supplies, quit going to Office Depot, wasting your time and your money. Save both time and money with office supplies and printer supplies delivered to your office. That's Onyx Imaging. Check them out online. That's Onyx Imaging.